If you work in software, the last 7 days probably felt more like 7 years. We just lived through, and I mean literally just lived through, a massive inflection point. It was a week that completely rewrote the rules for AI, for software delivery, and yeah, especially for anyone who lives and breathes the Salesforce ecosystem. And wow, this quote from Ted Elliott, Capato CEO, just hits the nail on the head. It perfectly captures the feeling of the last week. So to really get why this is such a huge deal, let's just look at the sheer speed of what just went down. I mean, just look at this timeline. This wasn't just one announcement. It was a nonstop, relentless cascade of breakthroughs. It kicks off on day one. OpenAI launches a smarter GPT. Then, by day three, Anthropic has raised a jaw-dropping $13 billion for its coding model. 2 days later, Google goes all in, weaving its Gemini AI into everything. And then by the end of the week, boom, the agent wars had officially begun. We're talking agents that don't just suggest a line of code, they write, test, and refactor entire systems, maybe while you're getting a cup of coffee. This wasn't just an upgrade to our tools, you guys. The entire ground of software development literally shifted under our feet. So, okay, what does this AI tsunami actually mean for us, the people in the trenches of DevOps? Well, it means the old playbook is officially toast. It's obsolete. Out of all that chaos last week, 3 new rules have emerged that are going to define the future of how we deliver software. Okay, let's dive right in with the first new rule. And I gotta say, this one is probably the most important. It's the foundation for everything else we're about to talk about. So, what makes these new AI models so ridiculously powerful? It isn't just about raw speed. It's that they can understand context. And in our world, context is, well, it's everything. Think about it like a self-driving car, right? The car doesn't just need to know the final destination. It needs a real-time map of every single street, every other car, every stoplight. Well, for an AI in Salesforce, that map is your metadata. And that's why metadata awareness has suddenly become the new competitive moat. Without it, an AI is just flying blind. It's just guessing. But with that deep metadata awareness, the AI becomes a true expert on your specific org, giving you a massive, massive advantage. All right, on to the second new rule. And this one completely redefines our relationship with the tools we use every single day. For years, our tools were kind of like robots on an assembly line. We gave them very specific, repetitive commands, and they did them. Simple. But this past week, AI coding agents, they graduated. They've become genuine development partners, capable of understanding the entire system architecture and just taking on complex tasks for hours at a time. In this slide right here, it really shows that fundamental shift. We are moving away from those reactive tools on the left, simple command executors, to these proactive teammates on the right. These new AI agents get the why behind the what. They can suggest architectural improvements because they have the full context of your system. But, and this is the key point, an AI is only as good as the context you give it. An agent that understands your metadata won't just write code. It's going to write the right code for your unique setup. And that brings us perfectly to our third and final new rule. This one pulls back the curtain on what that big money infrastructure battle is really all about. So when you see these headlines about billions and billions of dollars flowing into AI, it's really easy to just think it's a race for pure computing power. But the real game here is the intelligence race. It's not about who has the most servers. It's about who can build the most knowledge. The critical question for every single company now is, how do we make our AI smarter about our specific business? Okay, so we've laid out the new rules of the game. Now let's get personal. Let's talk about the practical impact on you, because this isn't some abstract thing happening in the distant future. No, this is going to change your day-to-day job, and it's starting, right now. Look, I know this timeline seems aggressive, but that's because the technology is moving that fast. In just 6 months, your value is going to shift from doing the releases to orchestrating the AI that does them. In a year, autonomous DevOps agents will be pretty common, and your ability to analyze metadata will be a core critical skill. And then, in 2 years, the very definition of a Salesforce developer will have changed. We're talking less time on routine code and way more time on high-level architecture and, frankly, training the AI. So, to navigate this new world, you need a new kind of platform. And that brings us to this idea of an AI-native vision. This isn't about just sprinkling some AI features on top of an old product. It's about building a platform from the ground up with a smart, cognitive layer right at its core. I love this quote from Kapato's chief AI officer, Mohan Ramchandani, because it gets right to the heart of a problem we've had forever, that gap between what the business wants and what technology can deliver. The vision here is to create an intelligent, cognitive layer that can finally bridge that divide because it speaks both languages fluently. So, what even is a cognitive layer? Well, it's way more than just slapping a chatbot on a website. Think of it more like your Salesforce org's personal bilingual translator and expert historian, all rolled into one. It has this deep, structural understanding of your entire org. It knows the history of every component, it sees all the complex webs and relationships, it anticipates risks, and most importantly, it can explain all of this to you in plain English. And this is where it gets really real. With a cognitive layer, you can ask your AI teammate these incredibly complex, context-aware questions. Things like, show me all the dependencies for this thing and suggest the safest way to deploy it. Or, analyze our last 10 deployments and tell me where we're getting stuck. These aren't simple commands. To answer them, you need a true understanding of your specific setup. And that is the difference between a simple AI tool and a truly AI-native platform. So finally, let's talk about the urgent reality that this new AI world is forcing us all to confront. Because this huge shift, it comes with a pretty uncomfortable truth for every organization out there. The events of last week make this question just unavoidable for every single company. Is the platform you rely on today built for the world that just ended? Or is it built for the one that just began? Here's the crucial point. Platforms that were built for the old world are now basically legacy systems. The new table stakes, the absolute bare minimum requirements for a modern DevOps platform are right here. It has to, 1, understand your metadata. 2, it has to be able to reason about all those complex dependencies. 3, communicate in natural language. 4, it has to learn from every single deployment. And 5, it needs to operate autonomously, but with human oversight. If your current platform can't do these 5 things, it is not a question of if you'll fall behind, it's a question of when. And that one is coming way faster than you think. We saw this movie with cloud and mobile, but AI is moving at a completely different speed. The window to get a competitive edge by adopting these AI-native workflows is incredibly short. We're talking months, not years. And this quote just wraps it all up perfectly. This isn't a prediction anymore. It's the new reality. We are now living in a world where humans orchestrate and AI executes. A world where a deep understanding of your org is mandatory, and where you can finally get both speed and safety without having to choose between them. That world arrived last week. So the only real question left to answer is, are you and is your organization ready for it?